is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other.
Hello, my good people out there. Thanks for joining me in this political realities and discourse this morning. We are here to review the happenings and developments, of course, bordering across humanity, most especially in Nigeria today. The state of insecurity in Nigeria should be a thing of serious concern for some persons who are denying the existential threat of Christian population in Nigeria should just take a time to watch this video, how the Christian worshippers or the Christian procession or service was disrupted by Islamic jihadists, assailants, who invaded the church premises, begin to shoot at sporadically, gunning down innocent worshippers in a country supposedly to be a secular state. It's rather unfortunate, but in practice, it's an Islamic nation. Look at the level of religious intolerance, massacring of Christians just for the very fact of professing their own faith, a natural right that could not be usurped by anyone. It's a natural right of freedom and liberty of expression. Unfortunately, that has been destroyed in Nigeria today, and yet you have some northern Islamic clerics rejecting or doubting, denying the realities on ground with overwhelming evidence. It's rather unfortunate. Look at the revelation of Melafia, the former deputy CBN governor. It was shocking, and these are just the current realities playing out today. What is the position of the Southern Christians? Sadly, most of the leaders are living in the self denial of the realities, trying to water down or play down the deaths of tens of thousands of Christians. Just take a watch. We'll come back.
on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe. I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity. Nigeria is a beautiful nation with deep faith traditions and lots of beautiful bars that I can't wait to see. When one's church, mosque, or place of worship is destroyed, everyone's heart should break just a little bit. And the foundation of the United Nations, with its core mandate to ensure peace and security, should shake. I am joined here today by peace builders, by faith leaders, by those who saw violence, saw rising intolerance, saw the threats clearly before us, and chose not to look the other way. I am inspired by their work to build interfaith ties, to see the humanity across the lines which might divide us, and to fight for security and liberty for all those who pray. I look forward to our discussion today, and I hope it will encourage deepened solidarity for us to urgently work together to ensure every person can enjoy the right to believe, to worship, and to live in peace. Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that for the rest of my life. I will care if anyone, anywhere, is being persecuted.
Now, what else can we say more than this? You have seen that the Christian population in Nigeria is facing existential threats, and Nigeria is the most deadliest place for Christians to live. I think people making this position, this U.S. senator and the world are waking up to the realities now. Of recent, you saw the stance or the position of Pope, the current Pope, that Nigeria is designated as one of the countries where Christians are being persecuted. It's no longer a subject of denial or controversy now, and have ordered international community, the world powers, to take action against this ugly trend. Not just in Nigeria, of course, other African countries are taking the same path of horror, unleashing horror against Christian populations. There have been advocacies, campaign for action, proactive action to be taken. It's no longer a subject of denial or living in that euphoria or that fantasy of deception, disillusion. How could we have a sovereign state where the terrorists invade freely, the indigenous communities kill freely, ambush the military freely, and get away, occupy, overrun territories, communities in Nigeria freely? And you claim you are a sovereign state and the international communities, the US, should not intervene? Why terrorists invaded freely with remarkable ease? Your supposed sovereignty going from community to community, killing people, invading church premises, desecrating the altar of Christ, the right of people to express their natural liberty of freedom and choice of religious expression and opinion. We're killing them. Look at, and thereafter carted away with their bags, with their belongings, and the rest of them. And you are saying you are a sovereign state where military personnel, officers, top hierarchy military officers are being killed like new recruits. You can imagine. And you still claim, living in that illusion, that you are a sovereign state, whereas the sovereignty has been compromised. Your own citizens have been displaced, their ancestral homes and communities forcefully occupied by the terrorists. What an irony, what a shame, what a show of shame, what a disgrace in this 21st century. And the government of Nigeria is probably, of course, indifference about what is happening. Look at what the Melafia said, that even the current serving governors are commanders of terrorists, of Boko Haram. Whether you call them Islamic State of West African Province or whatever name you choose to give them, the bandit and the rest of them, they are pure terrorists with a single mission to overrun Nigeria. As he rightly admitted, they're already in the south, in the forests of the south. Look at Kwara State is being overrun today. CSC has been invaded. That is to tell you, for those who are still living in denial or asking for time to be given to the terrorists. And the more time you give them, look at how deadly their missions and their actions, how they have intensified. Of course, this it is rather unfortunate, honestly. Let's listen to one of the uh, musicians or celebrities who address the United Nations on this subject. And it is a very emotional one for that matter. That as a matter of urgency, the entire world, the global world must rise against this demonic, ugly trend and the massacring of Christians, intentionally, deliberately sponsored by instruments of the state, by those occupying sensitive positions. Look at the report uh, of inquiry made by the Benue state government. It is rather indicting, unfortunate, that he claims 16 senators, serving senators, are sponsoring, funding terrorism. What a world, what a country. Now, it appears that the world is waking up to the reality. It appears that the world has been sleeping all these decades where these atrocities have been going on. The UN is finalizing the position on how to begin the attack on these Islamic extremist and terrorist groups. And the world is shaking. The Islamic cleric from the north on the run. But indeed, if you're found culpable of sponsoring at any particular time or aiding or sympathizing with the terrorists, definitely there will be no hiding place for you. I think that is a clear message, and US is keeping track on those involved in such uh, atrocious and heinous crime against humanity. This is all about humanity. So you can't just get involved in such dehumanizing and criminal act of terrorism and think you can get away with that. It doesn't matter wherever you run to, definitely the law will catch up with you. That is just the case. This involves global interests. It is not just peculiar to an individual. It's not an issue of sovereign state. Nigeria claims to be sovereign, whereas her own populations have been freely invaded, killed, territories taken over within the same defined territory known as Nigeria. We don't want UN, we don't want US. The days are gone. Once the Pope signals the world leaders that indeed Christian persecution is ongoing, they have been indecisive in the several years and decades, but today they have come to that consciousness and undeniable reality that indeed Christians are not just being persecuted, but killed, annihilated. What is going on is nothing short of genocide, a conspiracy, and systematic annihilation of the Christian population, being sponsored by even sitting senators, as revealed in the latest inquiry by the Benue State government. They have the information. They have sent the information to the federal government, but they decide for whatever reasons to clamp down on those informations. And eventually the papers has gotten to the United States government and who is ready to take actions any moment from now. So Gumi and his men and his boys or whatever he is, of course, standing and advocating for should get ready for the cause of justice. Though Gumi in his latest statement have said that if America eh, declares war against Russia, they will turn on their nukes, their nuclear warheads, and the rest of them saying possibly that the reason why the escalation at the most recent time, even against the military chiefs, I mean the top hierarchy of military personnel have been targeted, killed like new recruits. You can imagine. It is quite an embarrassing to the nation that a whole general could be tracked by the terrorists, that the defense headquarters, the Ogas, speaking with the general, could not locate his coordinates, exact position. Why making calls? It is the terrorists that eventually located the man before the Nigerian security, Nigerian defense force. I mean, it clearly indicates that the Nigerian security had been closely compromised. And that is a signal of danger. You can imagine a brigadier general talking with his officers, with his superiors, only for terrorists to intercept the coordinates, to locate where he is. Oh my God. There are more, of course, explanations to give regarding this. And the Nigerian military could not locate the coordinates to rescue their own officer. It is quite a very disturbing development. And there are more to this than we can see. And it is very glaring now that the position expressed by Melafia and every Mazin Namdekano have said it. So there is nothing new about this. People knew, people have been briefed of the mission, the program, the agenda, and these Islamic proponents and jihadists. Only that some politicians decide to live in denial or turn their face because of their political interests, what they stand to gain and benefit, just as what is happening under the watch of Ahmed Bola Tinubu. It's sort of unfortunate that the supposed country, known as a sovereign state, has been freely invaded by terrorists. They are killing Nigerian citizens, freely invading military camps and facilities, killing military officers like uh, like a cow taken to the slaughter, and the rest of them. I mean, and the government is in this friends. The Chief Security Officer, the Grand Commander of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, have not reacted over the killing of his general in such a gruesome manner on the adoption of Chibok, not Chibok girls now, but the KB Secondary Girls School. It is rather unfortunate. The government have shown clearly that it's not ready and prepared to defend the Nigerian people and population who are already at the risk of extinction are being overrun by these jihadists or terrorists that are on rampage across different regions of this country. Look at what is happening in Kwara, in CSC church proceedings. How many people were killed? This is a free for all fight, and these people are moving freely. Terrorists are moving freely, roaming about the Nigerian territory at will, and yet you call yourself a sovereign state. Let's have your own take regarding this development and what you think that pertains to the national security. Has been admitted by one of the senators that this national security has collapsed, and he has reasons, of course, to make such argument or submission or to have expressed his opinion. Possibly you might be overwhelmed by these current realities. Let's have your own take via the comment section. Thanks for watching.